They won't bare their teeth until it's too late. They'll laugh with you, praise you, even stand beside you, right up until the moment you drop your guard. And in today's world, where perception is more dangerous than reality, it's not your weakness that destroys you. It's the illusion of weakness. You don't have to fall to be attacked. You just have to look like you might. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He knew that survival wasn't about brute strength. It was about psychological armor. It wasn't about being invincible. It was about being unreadable. Because power, then and now, belongs not to those who are flawless, but to those who appear unshakable. So here's the brutal truth. If you want to walk through this world untouched, never let the wolves smell fear. Even if your world is on fire, make them believe you lit the match. They don't hunt you because you're weak. They hunt you because you seem available for the kill. And on this channel, we're going to break down exactly how to kill that illusion before it costs you everything. And that illusion of weakness, of vulnerability, is the most dangerous mask you can wear in a world that feeds on perception. People won't always attack you because you're actually weak. They come for you because you look like you might break. That single impression is all it takes. A flicker of hesitation, a crack in your voice, a moment of visible doubt. That's when they strike. Not because of what you are, but because of what you appear to be. As Carl Jung once said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. But today, no one's judging your soul. They're judging your surface. That's the brutal truth Machiavelli understood, long before social media ever existed. His warning wasn't just about enemies. It was about optics. If you want to be untouchable, the first rule is simple. Kill the illusion of vulnerability. Because this world doesn't reward emotional transparency, it exploits it. You can be breaking on the inside, but the moment that pain becomes visible, it becomes leverage. The more human you seem, the more weapons you give to those who would use them against you. That's why perception beats truth. That's why emotional control isn't just a personality trait, it's protection. As Machiavelli wrote, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. So, your image isn't a lie, it's your armor. Don't post your breakdowns. Don't explain your struggles. Don't hand the world a map to your soft spots. Because every time you bleed in public, someone, somewhere, is watching and calculating. But image alone isn't enough. To truly become untouchable, you must master the one force more powerful than words: silence. In a world obsessed with exposure, silence is unsettling, and that's exactly why it works. The more you speak, the more patterns you create. People begin to track your emotions, your reactions, your limits. But when you're quiet, when you strip away predictability, you become unreadable. And the unreadable are dangerous, not because they threaten, but because they make others nervous. That's not coldness, it's control. Unpredictability isn't chaos, it's a form of precision. Whether you're in a negotiation, a relationship, or a position of leadership, your silence becomes a signal. It says, "You don't get access until I decide you're worth it." Think of Keanu Reeves. You rarely see him oversharing, reacting emotionally, or engaging in drama, yet his presence commands respect in every room he enters. He speaks little, but when he does, people listen. Not because he's loud, but because he's deliberate. His silence isn't emptiness, it's strategy. That's why Machiavelli didn't just value power, he valued mystery. He knew that fear doesn't grow in confrontation. It grows in the shadows, in the absence of answers, in the tension of the unknown. When people can't explain you, they start to respect you, or fear you. And fear, in Machiavelli's world, wasn't cruelty. It was a tool of control. As he famously said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." And that's not about being a tyrant. It's about not being a target. So ask yourself, do you speak to express, or do you speak to secure your position? Because the more emotionally reactive you are, the easier you are to trap. The untouchable don't act on impulse. They calculate. They don't ask, "How do I feel?" They ask, "What does this move accomplish?" Power begins the moment you stop seeking approval, because approval is the leash they use to control you. Consider Elon Musk. He's been criticized, mocked, even sued, but he rarely bends to public opinion. He doesn't chase approval, he drives vision. That indifference to validation is what gives him leverage. Because the more you depend on being liked, the more others dictate your moves. If you're addicted to being liked, you become predictable, pliable, and ultimately, powerless. True respect is built on boundaries, not validation. That means controlling who gets access to you, when, and on what terms. The more available you are, the easier it is to manipulate you. The untouchable are polite, but distant. They show up when needed, make their impact, and then disappear. They leave no emotional residue, only a lasting impression. And in that space, they gain something even rarer than influence, a mythic presence. But silence alone isn't what makes you untouchable, it's what you do with it. Because once you're no longer broadcasting your emotions, you gain the one thing most people never have: leverage. And with leverage comes choice. You stop reacting to threats. You start managing them. In a world where betrayal often comes dressed as friendship and flattery is just camouflage for manipulation, emotional attachment becomes a liability. The most dangerous wounds don't come from enemies. They come from those who once stood beside you. That's why the untouchable don't build relationships. They build alliances. Strategic, conditional, expendable. While others crave forever, the untouchable prepare for endings. Because every bond can break under the weight of jealousy, fear, or opportunity. And the moment you assume someone's loyalty is permanent, you give them power over you. It's not about becoming heartless. It's about staying sharp. You can care, but never let care cloud clarity. As Machiavelli warned, men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. And when people no longer need you, or no longer fear losing you, they change. So don't anchor your safety in their affection. Anchor it in your independence. Be the one who can walk away, not the one who hopes others won't. Because once emotions take the wheel, anger, hurt, desperation, you become predictable. And predictability is a target. That's why the untouchable never respond out of rage. They respond with precision. Not to punish, but to prevent recurrence. If someone lies, expose what they fear. If someone sabotages, eliminate their influence. Not with noise, but with finality. Quiet consequences that speak louder than retaliation. No second chances for threats. No emotional closure for traitors. You don't owe them mercy. You owe yourself protection. And in that mindset, you no longer react, you orchestrate. Every move is calculated, every silence, a signal. You become not just a person, but a presence. A force that others can't place, can't predict, and therefore can't touch. But the highest level of power isn't loud. It's not flashy, and it never needs validation. The most dangerous people in any room aren't the ones demanding attention. They're the ones silently controlling the atmosphere. When you no longer need to announce your strength, it begins to radiate on its own. As Carl Jung said, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. The untouchable know their shadow, and they don't suppress it. They train it. They don't act when provoked. They wait. They watch. They move only when every variable is accounted for, because to strike too early is weakness. To strike without certainty is risk. But to strike with precision, without warning, without noise, that's domination. This is what Machiavelli meant when he said a ruler must be both beast and man. The beast acts without fear. The man knows when to act. Combined, they become lethal, not through brutality, but through calculated invisibility. The untouchable never flinch. They don't second guess, because they've already run the simulation in their mind 100 times. And when they act, There are no warnings, no emotional debates, no grand gestures of vengeance. There is only one outcome. The threat ends, reputation destroyed, influence cut off, power neutralized, not to satisfy anger, but to ensure it doesn't happen again. Because in this world, mercy for your enemies is cruelty to your future. Still, when you succeed, when your silence disarms, when your absence haunts, others will try to twist your discipline into cruelty. They'll call you cold, ruthless, unfair. But guilt is just another strategy, another weapon used to manipulate your conscience. Don't fall for it. You don't owe emotional resolution to those who tried to sabotage you. You owe yourself sovereignty. And that's not arrogance. That's survival. True power doesn't crave recognition. It thrives in silence. While others chase the spotlight, the untouchable shape outcomes from behind the curtain. Their influence is invisible, their moves untraceable, and that's what makes them unstoppable. They let others hold the mic, wear the crown, bask in praise, while they control the script. As Carl Jung once noted, the most intense conflicts, if overcome, leave behind a calm, not easily disturbed. That calm isn't weakness, it's precision born of restraint. It's the demeanor of someone who no longer needs to prove anything. Let others compete for attention. Let them rush to be seen. Meanwhile, you operate from the shadows, watching, directing, adjusting. You guide the flow without ever appearing to push. This is not manipulation. It's mastery. Because once you understand human ego, you stop confronting it and start using it. Let people believe the ideas were theirs. Let them feel independent. That illusion keeps them comfortable while you quietly hold the leverage. When they think they've won, you've already shaped the game. And the moment people begin watching you too closely, pull back. Visibility is vulnerability. Familiarity is exposure. The more they think they know you, the easier it is for them to predict you. And what's predictable can be defeated. So, retreat without disappearing. Be there, but unreadable. Speak, but reveal nothing. Move, but leave no trace. Your identity should be a mask, not a confession. The more mysterious you become, the more chaos you create in others. They overthink. They second-guess. And in that uncertainty, they lose control, while you tighten yours. That's how the untouchable win. Not through noise, not through force, but by becoming the variable no one can calculate. So in the end, the real art of becoming untouchable isn't about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself. It's about building a presence so intentional, so unreadable, that no one can find a weak point to attack. You don't just disappear from the spotlight. You become the one who decides where the light shines. Machiavelli didn't teach cruelty. He taught control. And in a world that rewards illusion over integrity, your ability to shape how you're seen is no longer optional, it's essential. Silence becomes your language. Distance becomes your filter. And every action becomes a signal, not of emotion, but of design. This isn't theory, it's application. These are tools. And if you sharpen them, you won't just survive this world, you'll shape it. So here's your move. Take one lesson from this video and apply it today. Start with one boundary, one silence, one decision made from strength, not reaction. Watch how the world responds. And if this message spoke to the part of you that's tired of being exposed, tired of being predictable, then don't just scroll past. Like this video. Subscribe to channel Psychology Insights. Turn on notifications. Every week, we drop new strategies, raw, real, and built for those who'd rather lead than be led. And before you go, tell me in the comments, which illusion are you ready to destroy first? Your answer might just be the first step toward becoming untouchable. Stay sharp, stay disciplined, and most of all, stay invisible.